Hello, beautiful souls, mujeres sagradas, my beautiful brujas, all my spiritual lovelies. Welcome back. This episode, we're going to talk about something that I feel is brought up all the time. And as a Latina woman, middle daughter, the only daughter in the house, I have heard a lot about, oh, you're lazy, just for resting. So in this episode, I'm talking about how we are not lazy. We could just be disconnected from the earth. So we're reclaiming rest on this episode. Okay, we're reclaiming rest as resistance and as ancestral rhythm, because I feel this whole laziness is a colonizer concept that's rooted in productivity culture. That hustle, bustle, hustle shit, you know? That feeling like we're in a race to who are we competing with, right? Grab your favorite drink, grab that beverage. Maybe you've already got your joint rolled up. Bring your favorite strain of cannabis. Let's get comfy. It's going to be a little bit of a talk here. So I really feel the colonized myth of laziness starts there. It starts with the invasion, right? It starts with how capitalism, colonialism, and the patriarchy has rewired us to equate our worth with output. That hard work versus ancestral work. So what are we really honoring, right? The ancestral body and our wombs don't operate on this whole grind culture. But slowing down was once sacred to our ancestors, and it still is. This is something I've been wanting to talk about. It's been really heavy for most of us because this label of being lazy. And how many times have you felt judged by someone just because you needed to take a rest? Or how many times have you caught judging yourself for not doing enough, or, wanting to slow down, wanting to put off laundry for another day or another 2 days or a week? Fuck. But I'm here to tell you again, you ain't lazy. So laziness to me, I feel like, is a word that was born out of colonization. Colonizers did not care what we had going on, right? They saw our ancestors. They did not care about our spirituality, our beliefs, our practices. They didn't care if we were tired, if we were grieving, bleeding, healing. They just wanted labor out of us. They wanted labor, production, extraction. They were extracting from the earth. So then they're like, how can we extract from these people? And that's what they did. And the mindset has seeped into everything. That mindset of laziness, from how we work to how we parent to how we shame ourselves from just needing a fucking nap. And I've heard from adults saying that nap is for kids and naps are for babies. Bro, fuck out of here. Nap's gonna be until the day I die. I'm napping until the eternal nap. So if you feel guilty because you want to slow down, that's the system talking. The system made it that way. But guess what? The system is not a god. The system is not your creator. It's not a spirit. It's not your body. And it sure as hell ain't your worth. Okay, so the system made you feel guilty, but we're reclaiming that shit. Okay? You are like the earth. You're in motion. The earth has seasons just as we do. The earth doesn't bloom year round, doesn't grow nonstop all year round. She doesn't just keep going and keep going and keep going. Fuck no. She rests. She decays, and then she transforms. And that's what we are. We're cyclic like her. Cyclic? Is that a word? Cyclic? We run in cycles like the earth does. Especially for us goddesses who have a womb. We definitely need a lot more rest than the masculine. So that disconnection right there from nature has led us to feel so burned out. It may have led us to have this nervous system burnout, chronic fatigue, always being freaking tired, feeling numb, feeling like spiritually disconnected, feeling like you can't even tap into your intuition, feeling like you don't even hear spirit. You don't even hear your ancestors. That's how it all is when you don't allow yourself and honor your body to rest, give yourself time to rest. And I've been there. That's why I'm sharing this, because all my life I've been told I'm lazy. But even as a child, I was always wanting to do things. So I was in sports, and when I was old enough, I had a job after school, and I did a lot during those hours of school, after school shit, and work. So I wanted to come home and chill. I wanted to sleep in on my weekends. But to Latino parents, we can't do that. What is sleeping in? What is taking a nap? That means you're lazy. And that's the kind of things that I heard. So I grew up thinking I was just fucking lazy. I grew up thinking that I had to work. And I have to come home and work. Because that's all I saw my whole life. I saw my parents coming home from work and going around the house working. I saw them on weekends, on their days off, working. Till this day, my mom works, and on her days off, she works around the home. This lady does not know how to rest, I feel, but she's getting there with my help. Like I said, we're coming back to earth. Okay. When you come back to yourself, when you come back and remember, you will start to awaken that spirit of your body. Your ancestors will respond. When you're disconnected from the land, you forget your own cycles. That's why so many of us are tired and blocked and upset. Sacred rage, depression. Our bodies hurt. We are constantly getting sick because we're not allowing ourselves to restore our energy. We're just running on these systems, running on timelines that don't honor ourselves, that don't honor our womb, that doesn't honor our energy or our soul. So we're going to come back to earth to remember that tiredness is sacred. A lot of things that we grew up with, I feel all reward overextension, like schools, schoolhouses, school systems, religion, your job. They will pat you in the back if you overwork yourself. And that's not something we're doing. We're not doing that. A lot of whitewash spirituality still pushes productivity in the form of like manifest. You got to be manifesting this. You should manifest that. Like a lot of this spiritual like community comes off as, I'm doing this, look at me with all of these followers, making this 10K month bullshit, like making it seem like they're hustling all the time. It's starting to get a little better, it is. But rest is an act of decolonization, and that's the kind of journey I'm on. So if you're not on a decolonization journey, my podcast may not be for you because I'm going to be talking shit a lot. Okay, so that's why I got to let y'all know this decolonization journey is a tough one, because not every day, but I have realized, damn, I'm really colonized from the inside and out. And I thought I've been doing, hella work, but I'm realizing more areas I'm colonized in that I got to work on. And rest is an act of decolonization, womb healing, and nervous system repair. And I feel honestly that's why they want us to be overworked, is so that our nervous systems can be so fucked that we stay sick and we stay controlled. Like I said, when I was a kid, I used to go from work to practice to a job. Like I feel like we're just being trained. From the moment we step into our schoolhouse, we are being trained to work a 9 to 5 and be a slave to the system. Programmed to the system. Programmed you to believe rest equals failure, which it doesn't. I think failing is when we don't listen to our bodies. That's when we fail. That being soft means you're weak. That's another thing too. You are not soft. Not like the way they say. Softness is good. When I mean you're not soft, it means like it's not how they see it. Because I've been told that I'm soft and it's a weakness. I've been told in jobs that my sensitivity is a weakness. But it's not. And I've seen how in my life I have tried to ignore that and be like, wait, maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I just need to work. And I didn't listen to my body when it was trying to signal me that I was getting into burnout. And I ended up in the hospital twice for burnout. 3 times, actually. The third time, I injured myself. I fucking injured myself because I was so burned out. This injury, I needed surgery, and I was out of work for 3 months. So listen to your bodies, bro. Like, because if you don't, your body will force you to listen. If you don't rest, you will be forced to rest. That's at least in my experience. So every time I choose rest or you choose rest, you're choosing to come back to yourself. Coming back to your body, back to your truth. Rest isn't just physical, it's energetic. It gives us the time to restore ourselves, restore our energy, clear our minds. It's a spiritual act. By just laying down on the ground, even outside, and just listening to the wind, which I'll touch on some ways that you can regulate your nervous system or just kind of, relax. I'll touch on that at the very end, but let yourself be. Let yourself have a connection with your body and your womb without shame. Bleed without shame. And I'll cover bleeding and womb health on different episodes, but another thing is you don't over explain to people why you need time, why you need to be alone, why you need to rest. That shit does not need a fucking explanation. We're here to not give explanations. It seems like everybody wants a fucking explanation when sometimes the answer is no, period, and you walk away. Because your spirit knows what it needs. You just have to listen so that you know what to give it. And rest is the way we listen. Our ancestors valued their rhythms. They didn't value a routine. They valued their rhythms. They adored the earth. They thought resting and dreaming and going inward, spending time with meditation, that shit was sacred. Our ancestors didn't they didn't look at tiredness in a way it's negative. They just honored it. I'm very ancestral rooted. So I feel like my practice is very earth-based and going back to how it should be, because I've been there when I push myself too hard. And when you push yourself too hard, I feel your spirit fragments. When you ignore your body, your intuition gets quiet. When you carry on guilt for resting and you hold on to shame that isn't even yours, you could feel that in your body. And sometimes that energy gets trapped and dislodged in places in your body. And then you start to feel those aches and pains and you don't know where it's coming from. Or you start to get sick all the time and you don't know why. Because you're not listening to your body, and there's a lot of energy there that's trapped and dislodged and frozen that's just going to physically manifest into things. So when you rest, you truly rest. You start to become alive again, and you remember who the fuck you are. You remember that you're sacred. Because chronic guilt equals soul disconnection. Keep pushing through is like spiritual or spirit fragmentation when you don't allow yourself to rest. Rest equals spiritual reconnection and clarity. I'm telling you, my intuition, my clairs, my gifts all started screaming hella loud as soon as I started incorporating more rest into my life. I really truly felt like I could breathe, and it feels so good not being guilty. I'm telling you, it feels so good. So some of the earth-based nervous system regulation practices that I've done that I love and that work for me, I would say the first thing is grounding with earth, however you can, whether that is just going to your local park and sitting down on the grass for as many minutes as you need, 15, 20 minutes, and then going home, or just going outside in your backyard or your front yard and walking barefoot on some dirt, some grass, some sand, 10, 15 minutes, and just putting your phones away, no electronics, and just giving your body and your energy to earth. This really does help calm that vagus nerve, that big nerve in our body that connects to everything, really. And it helps rebalance your energy. That vagus nerve in our nervous system, that shit is huge. It connects to a lot of our internal organs. It connects through the heart, our heart chakra. It connects through the lungs, the respiratory system, our GI system, our liver, our spleen. That shit controls, it's a big nerve, and the colonizers know this. That's why I said they attack the mind first They took your mind, then they took the land, right? So they knew the vagus nerve was something that they could program you with. They could get to you with. And I think I'm going to break that down in a future episode. Another way I like to do is connecting with water spirit through a tea ceremony, right? And just prepping your favorite tea that will help you calm yourself. Like my favorite is chamomile. Another one I've combined it with is chamomile and lemon balm, or I just do lemon balm, or I take a St. John's capsule with and then I have my tea, my chamomile tea. I think passion flower is another one that's good, but something a tea that's calming and nourishing. And you can have this tea in front of your altar or outside, and be intentional with it. Speak your intentions to the water before you prep your tea. Call water spirit in, and you can even draw sigils on your cup for whatever that you need. Draw sigils into the water. Inhale the scent, like speak to you the spirit of the herb of the tea that you're using, and just let your body soften with each sip. I also like music and vibrations, or just humming, singing, dancing, using those vowels like ooh, ah, like really stimulate the vagus nerve, and it kind of helps shift you into like this rest and digest state, which is called parasympathetic. It like brings you back to, because your nerve, if you're constantly on fight or flight, constantly on survival mode, you're going to have to train your nerve to come back into relaxation. So I like humming or singing, dancing in slow movements, even just kind of moving my hips in the bath or moving my hips in the shower. It just helps like release any tension and trauma, and moving that through the body and just creating a safe space for your body. You could always wash your face with some cold water if that feels like, or just putting a cold compress over your forehead or over your eyes, and then like maybe one cold compress on your back of your neck. This really does help the nervous system quickly calm and bring you back into your body. Kind of like when we have a syncope, which is a fainting episode in clinic. That's one of the first things that we do. We lay them down, put their legs up, and then get cool compresses for their head and their neck, just to kind of bring them back, and feel them. They can feel themselves coming back to their body. Deep belly breathing. I love deep breathing. I love breath work. Our ancestors did a lot of that, and tapping. Looking into I think it's EFT tapping. Pull up YouTube videos on that. Tapping really helps you get out of this anxiety and worry. I just recently got back to tapping, and it went really well. It really helps, especially in those moments where I feel so out of it and so unsure and so just chaotic. Laying on the ground, I mentioned it before, but it really does help. Some days I just need to go out and lay in the grass, because letting the earth just hold you. Ooh, bring some crystals with you. Bring your favorite crystals. You can even put them over certain chakras that you need. Forehead, put for your third eye or your crown, your heart, your womb, wherever you need it. Invite the energy of the crystals too to help you with your grounding. I also like to recreate a little cave space for myself where I have my favorite blanket, my favorite pillows, my shawl that I use to wrap my womb. Sometimes I'll sleep with it. Like I have all those little, and then my favorite like snacks. I just make sure I always have that little cave space that I can go to. Of course, we like to use smoke medicine, right? We like to smoke cleanse. That's one of the best ways to clear out and cleanse the auric field and bring spiritual clarity when you feel hella like overstimulated. Get your favorite herb. I love rue. I love rosemary. Those are my favorite. Copal también is really good. For the ancestors love copal. And then my favorite, once I'm in stillness, I like to speak to my ancestors and say affirmations over and over. I ask my ancestors to help regulate my body, and I just let the spirit world speak to me, and I listen. I connect my heart chakra to the spirit world, and I am there to listen. I love to say things like, I am safe, I am protected. That one has come up a lot. I'm hearing I am protected every single day. I am protected and I am not alone. Those are some of the things that the top 3 affirmations that I like to use when I need to like regulate myself and come back. Again, loves, we're not lazy. So I want you to ask yourself before we disconnect, before I leave for the day, ask yourself, where have I been punishing myself for being tired? Like, what would it look like to honor my rhythm this week? How can you honor your rhythm this week? It could be just doing one less thing. Maybe it could just be taking time to finally get back to journaling, or to give yourself more time to journal. Maybe you're going back to your spiritual practices, your rituals, your card pulls. Maybe it's just slowing down and watching your favorite show and not feeling fucking guilty for watching your favorite show. So wherever you are, however you're returning back to the earth inside you, know that you are not lazy. You are just remembering. And when you remember, my love, you become fucking unstoppable. All right. I hope this lands with you. Don't forget to share the podcast. Tell your homies about it. Like, comment. I will be dropping another episode weekly. And if you haven't followed me over on Instagram and on Threads and TikTok, I'm at esoteric. What am I? Priestess.esoterica. And if you would like, you can always send me a DM if there is a topic that you want me to shed my wisdom on. I will be happy to do so. And if you do give me a topic